Hey guys, what's up? It's Phoebe from Alternative Twist Radio. Today we have a new author spotlight. We have Tiffany Dansby. She is a poet and author. Her book is called Fed Erotica. Welcome, Tiffany.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I'm so happy you could join us today. So when did you realize that you wanted to become an author and a poet?
So my love for poetry actually started when I was very young. I think I had every book by infamous author, children's poetry author, Shel Silverstein. That really evolved as I got older and I started reading a lot of authors and poets who are critically acclaimed, and of course infamous Allen Ginsberg, Frost, Anne Sexton, just going down the list. And it really introduced to me the idea of having different perspectives and really owning your view of this world, because you are the only person who experiences the world in the way in which you do. So because of that, I've always kind of toyed around with writing poetry and, just making fun little blurbs growing up. And of course, pandemic can certainly change the lens that you view your own life with. So I decided to start performing spoken word at open mics. I brought with me my journals. The majority of my book is from these journals, and I would just read straight from them. And people came to me asking if they could buy my book or if I had one. And that just kind of kicked off this journey of being a self-published poet and spoken word performer.
That's awesome. I was reading portions of your book. When I first saw the title, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Fed Erotica. I wonder what that's about. Can you explain how you came about writing the title of your book, Fed Erotica?
Sure. My husband and our family, we have 3 children. We are a very Southern-based family. My side can trace some of their lineage back to Sam Houston and colonizing Texas, essentially. So we go way back. Because of that, there are so many memories where the food that we're eating and the different times that we're together really signify the passage of time. When you think of a nice night out, typically a nice dinner or food that you really enjoy is part of it. And, even in music, we have soul food or, chicken soup for the soul. But to me, being a married woman of almost 15 years this year and being with my husband and my very best friend for almost 20 years, knowing that you are in a fulfilling relationship means that your partner really understands you. They don't just speak to the physicality of relationships, although that's definitely a bonus. They really speak to your soul. And a lot of the things that I write about kind of air into erotica, sometimes a little more pointedly so. But with this first volume of poetry, I really wanted to challenge the idea that erotica is only X-rated. When you really find that connection with someone, when they speak to your soul, I find that even the most nuanced, very passé things can be erotic. When you have this kind of internal connection with someone, when they speak to you on that level, when they feed your soul with their presence, it's definitely a very powerful bond. So the name just came to me one day. I was baking in my kitchen. I love to bake. And I was thinking of soul food and how I wanted to evoke romance, and it just all came together.
The parts that I read of your book, to me, it didn't even seem erotic, like risque, like, ooh, I shouldn't be reading this, but maybe let me just try and, hide in the corner and read it, like 50 Shades kind of thing. It wasn't even that to me. It was more deep and intimate, like what you were saying, that special connection you have with your partner. And it seemed like it was very mindful also. It didn't seem so physical in the aspect where you're almost feeling like you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be reading that. It just spoke to my being. It was so deep and so beautiful. I almost started tearing up a little bit because I felt like the way you were describing your relationship, and how you were feeling, I felt that same way, and I still feel that same way with my husband. I was like, oh my gosh, how did she know? She got in there and put it in such beautiful descriptive words.
Wow, that's wonderful to hear, and such kind feedback. I love hearing that. And I think that a word that we don't always think of in terms of love and, of course, sex and erotica is nourishment. That you can eat whatever you want and you can wear whatever you want, but when it's something that really uplifts you and nourishes you, it's a very different experience. You are fully, wholly part of yourself. So I love hearing things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was so fulfilling to knowing that other people are feeling the same way that you do, and in such a positive way. Now, in the other side, hearing all the beautiful words, that's so uplifting, and being able to encourage people. Now, there's the other side of negativity, because there's such a negative stigma correlated with, erotica, sex, all of that. So how do you process and deal with the negative comments?
I really just challenge it very gently. I am a very, independent woman as my own person, but I share my codependency with my spouse. Without my spouse, of course, I would be a mess, and that would be difficult, but I do know I am strong enough to be out in this world and be confident with my thoughts and my actions. Even publishing under my name was a heavy consideration. Just the title alone is kind of, to some people, misleading because it's not the X-rated experience. And I really want to pull that back and say that erotica are the things that turn you on, the thing that puts you on that next connection with someone who you do really love and who will forever be your partner. Or maybe just temporarily as relationships end amicably or not. Some people are in open relationships. I want this work to really speak to anyone who sees love in a positive light and is willing to give it a chance, but also love and know themselves. So if it's too risque for some people, I understand. There's some pretty heavy innuendo in here, but at the same time, in terms of how risque it could be, I don't think it's anywhere near on that scale. So I'm very proud of it. And I don't think, this will be the first of many volumes of Soul Fed Erotica. So I don't think I could stop if I wanted to.
That's great. And that was just what my next question would be. So I'm sure your readers can look forward to other volumes of Soul Fed Erotica. Do you have like a plan of how many volumes, or at least a set goal maybe?
Oh man, I don't really have a plan. I really think that this type of writing is so knit into who I am. I love a Victorian romance. I love a modern day romance. I love lost love and tragic love and Greek, all of these things. But I think as long as I live, as long as I can write, I really plan to make this series of work a lifetime collection, and speaking about love through all phases of my life. I'm only in my 30s, but my husband and I have preteens and a 9-year-old, and we're nowhere near retirement yet. And then there's all of this more time that we'll have alone with each other. And through that, knowing that I will change, that how I view love will change, and seeing my children fall in love, these are all the things that you look forward to in life. And I'm pretty heavy-handed on capturing that experience and just sharing it with the world, because these are the things that really tie us together, no matter how differently we see everything. These are our lives.
I would definitely love to see more of your work, because I haven't seen too much that focuses on the intimate part, being connected in the mind and in the spirit. It's more of just all sex and physical,
Yeah.
all the, at least all the contemporary books, that I've seen and heard about. Even movies, when it's supposed to be, a love story, but it's more focused on the physical aspect, which I understand that's what sells. But then you have to like really read through the storyline, and you see, oh, it's actually a love story. But you have to muddle through, all of that, and really read between the lines, which I think a lot of people, they may not do that because it's just about sex and that was it. That's what they publicize. But it really is about the deep connection between the main characters. But that's what I would like to see, more of the intimate part, not so much of the physical, Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a show that did this around the time that I was publishing or, putting my book together was Bridgerton. Everyone really who watched that show really loved that show. They loved the idea of having this set waiting period, although it was oppressive and controlling and all those things. If we removed the suppression that women went through in those times and really considered taking the time to get to know someone, to know their families, to judge their character and see how they are in their community. A hot guy is a hot guy. He can definitely turn your head, but is that the person that you want to raise a family with? Is that a person that you want to just live alone with forever and have dogs and travel the world or whatever? These are very intimate decisions that we make. And I'm happy that you brought up movies, because I find the same thing, especially through all of the early 2000s. It was very sex oriented, and as soon as they kiss and it's hot and steamy, and then the real part of the conflict comes up, and it's always like, well, this is the thing they're going to fight about, and then they kind of have to work with it and work that out and work on themselves. And they don't always dedicate as much time to that part. You're like, oh, we're wrapping this up and we're done, and you can foresee future problems, but hopefully they'll be fine. I think what really pulls people in is knowing that you choose to love someone, that it's not just something that you feel and it's gone. If you really love someone, you love them forever, or you love them until that relationship completely sours for whatever reason. And even then, you still look back at some of those times kind of positively or having learned. And then the other side of that coin that I speak to a lot in my book is choosing to love yourself. Whether or not that relationship was fruitful or not, you still deserve to love yourself. And you cannot show up in your next relationship or in your relationships with other people without serving yourself in that way, knowing what you want and taking care of you and your heart.
Tiffany, when you said that, loving yourself, that is exactly true. I found in my own personal experience and talking with other people that I know, other ladies and other guys, it's all about, you have to love yourself first and actually go through the process. Everyone goes through trauma, everyone goes through hurt and pain in their life, but it's whether or not you're able to get through that process, that grieving process, and heal from that. It could take years. And then once from that, then you start to, you get through the whole process. You're angry, you're sad. Then you get to the part where I don't give up, I don't care. Yeah. And then eventually you can start, you know what? Okay, I want to be happy again. What can I do to be happy? And just changing things, changing your environment, getting out of toxic situations, and then slowly being happy again, doing things that de-stress you and that brings you joy in life. And eventually, hopefully, you can learn to love yourself. And then, because you can't serve other people, you can't be happy around other people, I found anyway, unless you're happy within yourself. So when you said that, that is 100% accurate, I feel. Yeah. And then you can be happy in another relationship. And that is so true. So true.
Yeah, and that it again invokes that level of transparency of being honest with yourself, honest with that person. To me, it really strengthens your future chances of having a good relationship. My husband and I certainly are excellent examples of that. We met at 18. Our first couple of years together were not easy. We were both overcoming a lot of trauma from our childhoods, and we're very different people, but we have the same morals. And how we choose to love one another, we have very different love languages, but how we choose to love one another comes from one of us saying, I need this right now, or I need alone time, or I need time alone with you, or I need, some help with this so we can relax together, or I'm just really down and I don't know why, or I do know why. I need some love to see through this. You are your first and sometimes only advocate. So strengthening that partnership really means that you show up for yourself on a day-to-day basis. And, I tell my friends all the time, honey, that work is hard. That work is always on. And another thing that I say a lot is, hard times are like small towns you're just passing through. We're just passing through. We don't live here. You have to set that goal and really reach to get there. But when you have a partner, a friend, love is so universal and it shows up in so many different types of relationships that we have. When you really love that person and they love you, you are just a little more reinforced in overcoming, as you said, trauma and hardships and healing. It is hard work, but it's really great when you have someone there to help you through it.
Yes, I absolutely agree with that too. Having the love and support of your family, your friends, your spouse, your significant other is very important to being able to grow and go through changes too in life. Because, I don't know if a lot of people realize people change in their life so many times, day to day, months, years. The person I was at 17, 18, for sure, is a totally different person from where I'm at now.
Yeah.
I'm 43 years old. If I was to say at 43, I still was thinking like the 17, 18-year-old, if I was still acting like the 17, 18-year-old, oh my gosh, that's horrendous. But, but everyone grows in life and you have to grow. You absolutely have to grow in order to go through life and evolve. It's like a river, an ocean. There's waves and ebbs and flows, and there's going to be really hard time, crappy times in life. But then hopefully with the other spouse, your significant other, you can get out of that with the support of each other. And that's so important. I really do agree with that.
That's great. I haven't met anybody who really challenges that, but I'm sure some people think, well, I don't really need it as much. And then it's like, well, okay, but then you have to become that much more reliant on yourself. It can sometimes just make things a lot harder. I would not have published my book. My first 200 copies were handmade at my kitchen table. I work a full-time job. We have 3 children. We had 3 children at home through the pandemic. Through the end of the pandemic, I lost about a third of my hair. I had huge bald patches all over my head. And that was really around the time that I decided to do spoken word and open mics. And I just decided that, this is more important to me. If my hair comes back or not, who cares? I can get a wig. I can be, those things do not matter. What matters is that I take care of myself and I show up mentally, physically, and emotionally to serve my family. This is the role that I play here. I'm the queen of my house. I can't do that and think poorly of myself for things that are out of my control. And here we are a year and a half later from the time that I had about a third of my hair loss, and my hair is growing back and I'm thriving, and my household is happy. We're all healthy. it really is a choice to love yourself and continue to choose that self-love through everything that you're going through in life, no matter what it is.
Absolutely. I'm sure so many women and men also can relate to your story because, we all went through that stressful time during the pandemic, and it was something no one ever went through, in our lifetime, and something new, and especially being in a society where we're very interactive, even though we're all connected online, it's always some sort of interaction. So if we're super connected and addicted to the internet, but there's some sort of interaction, whether it's remote, we're always online, YouTube, Spotify, watching movies. It's wanting to feel that connection with the other person. Then we had to be locked down and not have that physical connection. So of course, everyone went through a depressive stage, yearning for interaction, and now we have to learn, to get back and start actually talking to people, and relearning not to cuss, without the mask on and just mouthing words, oh my God, oh no, I can't say I'm sorry.
Yeah. I know a little about that.
Relearning normal social interaction.
Yeah. I won't quote the face type, but there's a smiling face type and there's another face type. Thankfully, from the eyes up, they're about the same with a mask on. But as a Texan, it's hot. I'm very thankful we're past this. Goodness, what have we lived through? What an achievement to have survived all of this. But again, it is that lens of, we got through this together. We actually, we have a few activities that we did as a family that we just don't have time to do anymore now. And there are heavy pros and cons across the board, but it just recenters again the things that are so important, the critical care and access that we need as Americans and in our community, and to support one another through, storms, through catastrophic ice storms as a Texan, just the very important things that say, I love myself, I love my community, I have a place here, and I can make a good difference in this world.
Right. So we were talking about your book. Do you have a portion of your book that you'd like to read off of?
Yes. I'm going to read one of my favorites to read at open mics. It's called Yes, Love Can Be Found There. It's just one of my favorites. And everything in this book, again, the whole book is dedicated to my husband. But this one especially talks about the transformation that I felt when we first fell in love. And I still feel that to a strong degree today. This is called Yes, Love Can Be Found There. It's from my book, Fed Erotica. Yesterday, in the blazing heat, your fingers spread wide in front of your chest. As you told me, when you think of me, I fit inside you. Your fingertips closed and drew into the center of your body, at the familiar place where butterflies tickle our insides, too high for the stomach, too low for the heart, the point where sickness first alerts us, where disrupted peace of mind hardens like rocks, where if we feel like we are soaring, we are being lifted from our core, the innermost physical self, where when in love, the brilliant mind connects the body to its instinctive gut, the deciding organs joined across a few inches of biological, psychological, nucleic weavings, tissues intertwined with fibers of the mind. We're missing someone so much can ache, can shoot sharp pangs through bodies, where happiness is truly fostered, where our meals become our nutrients, where protective bones begin to open, gently parting, exposing softness, where skin faintly pulses, where countless cultures believe the soul resides. For not only does love live in the heart, where aches long ago healed are carefully hidden, not only does love ensnare itself in the mind, where fears and disruption are love's neighbors, not only does love live upon lips, also prone to professing anger or lies. Yes, love can be found there, but when love is felt here, where your hands have knit your gentle touch at the center of yourself, the chrysalis within me opened. Butterflies flew from it, tickled my ribs with delicate wings, went from internal flower to flower, tending to my heart, my mind, my lips, bringing with them peace of mind, strength that rejuvenates my blood, truth from my tongue. Then bloomed a feeling so pure, so tender, so explosive, so true. It nested within the center, took over my lungs, filling them with ecstasy, sending champagne bubbles into my veins, powering past the aches in my heart, replacing my worries with new thoughts and sentiments of promise, renewal, hope, life, birth, death, resurrection, a metamorphosis unlike any other. Within that moment, I left behind the fear that maybe, just maybe, I could not put my weight on the boughs of this branch extended before me. My limbs grew an inch, my chest opened, and from within them I became my highest self. I only wish I could have said as beautifully, so simply, in the way that love can be so bare and raw, that you fit perfectly within me too.
Tiffany, I feel like I want to cry right now. Just like, oh, but I literally have tears in my eyes right now. That made me feel so good, and it was so deep, so meaningful, and I could feel that love that you're describing, and it almost makes me, it feels so fulfilling in a way, hearing that description and feeling your description, the way that you worded it was just amazing, so beautiful and so touching.
Thank you. I get a little teary reading it, and I wrote it. So, I find that person and it evokes that feeling forever. I mean, that's kind of the other thing. Like, I love my husband. I want him to have things he can hold on to if I precede him in death. I want my kids to remember that this is what love looks like. And I know I'm not the only one that feels this way. We're 34 and 35. We have a long, hopefully very fruitful, long life to live together. And, the thought of a day without him is terrible. But what a gift to be loved in this way and supported and receive that in return.
I know your books are available on Amazon, your books of poetry. So your book is Soul Fed Erotica, and your name is Tiffany Dansby. So available on Amazon, and your Instagram handle is A Poet We Know. So it's all one word, A Poet We Know. And I'll include your social media contacts on the description when we load it on YouTube.
Awesome. Yeah. A Poet We Know. There's little underscores between all of those, but that's my whole life. It's not just my writing. It's me as a person, my take on our world right now. And, I just really appreciate you taking the time to meet with me today and get real sensitive and talk about this work.
Yeah, I almost feel like it was like a therapy session, or like really a fun girl talk, fun, deep girl talk. And I feel like that's what we need in life too. Just people that we can connect with, even though it's remote, and that's okay. You're in Texas, I'm in California. We all need to somehow connect with people and to vent to them and let them know, you're not alone. You're not the only one going through crap right now, but just to vent in a safe way and to feel rejuvenated afterwards.
Yeah, and remember to, listen to your body and what it says. And if that means that you go out and find those things, or you have those connections, or you take that time for yourself, listen, it's talking to you. This is Tiffany Dansby, author, spoken word performer, and author of Fed Erotica. You're listening to Alternative Twist Radio.
Thanks for watching, guys. Please share, like, and subscribe to our channel, and find us on all of our social media, links in our bio. Thanks.